What's up guys, it's Like Crypto here and it's time for our monthly macro airdrop video. I just came back from Dubai. I was at Sui Base Camp, then I went to the Karate Combat event, and I met a lot of interesting people who gave a lot of alpha, which some of that I'm going to be sharing with you here today. Now let's look into the macro overlook for airdrops. So when we look at like April, for instance, we had a lot of prominent ones like Kelp DAO, we had Hyperlane, Zora, Inisha, and Milky Way, which all of those we did talk about in the video. For the most part, these were all 3 digits airdrops, at least for me. Then there were a couple of ones that really underperformed, like Hadel and Stakestone was a massive failure in my opinion, and Mantra DAO, which well, crashed out pretty badly from its price after the airdrop made it like 90% down or something crazy. I haven't seen that in a while. So it wasn't like this massive airdrop month. And in terms of May, it seems to have that we have a couple of things in store, but it may end up being a bit like smaller month in general. But in terms of like the people I talked to at the events in Dubai, it's just like that reinvigorated my bullish momentum, and maybe I'm seeing this cyclical process a bit differently. So I maybe think that in Q1, Q2 of 26, that is going to be peak of this market most likely, not this year or in the past sense that it already happened. So I'm actually a bit more bullish about these things, even though there's a lot of FUD around in the world. I actually believe that in Q1 or Q2, we're probably going to be now seeing our top. Now let's look into a bit of the tier list here. I have done now version 3, so last time we were looking at version 2. And there's a couple of entries which are obviously missing, as some of those that were in this list have now actually happened, like Hyperlane, Zora, and etc. Now, couple of additions over here. Obviously S and A are the same, but I put mitosis back into B. I'm losing increasingly more faith in this project. There's a couple of new additions here. Aztec, which like OGs of the channel know that we have talked about this project maybe back in like 2020 or something. I was grinding this in 2020 or something, and now they're coming back. I think they raised more money, and now they basically announced testnet, which I will talk about in a second. Another one is Ika, is in the list right now. We talked about it actually on the Sui video. I talked to the people at the event, and they basically said that I think the first airdrop is going to be like 6%, and it's going to be happening in very next weeks. And then I also added out Espresso here, which likely could be a big thing. And then we have Lens, which have now rebranded into a whole thing. I haven't really interacted with the new stuff at all. And then we got some lot of low tier ones here. We don't even know if Polygon ZK EVM is a thing. Movement, are they going to be doing another drop? Pump Fund is going to be happening at some point. And Karac is probably going to be very close soon. Now, in terms of Sui Base Camp, there were a couple of announcements were done, especially about the actual Sui Play console, which is going to be shipped by September. And obviously we know that this console is going to be riddled with actual airdrops. So that's going to be one of the news. Volo Sui, which is one of these LSTs that we talked about, they are going to be also starting a leaderboard soon. So they're going to be having their own token coming out. CarrierOne, which is the next thing I want to talk about. I actually got a discount code for you guys, so you can get 20% off with the code SUIBASECAMP20. So, and the CarrierOne also announced that there's going to be a formula airdrop happening. I think there's a couple of testnets that you can interact with by not buying this device. I think it's like $240 for the device, and you get 20% off from that. So that's like a basically $200 device. Depends. I do want to say that even though I kind of like understand a bit of their tokenomics and model, seems to be, it's not as inflating because it's going to be like only high quality traffic is going to be mattering. So if people are actually be using, not just like some other ones are just based on the gigabytes that you're going to be transferring. So that's like Helium and etc. So this is going to be a lot more like performance-based rewarding for the user. So if you're in a really good area, like you're maybe in a mall or you own a shop somewhere, that's going to be a lot of good things. And they have done the only partnership with AT&T. So that's a pretty big thing that they were selling. But I'm still contemplating, will I buy the device, when and how, because obviously Deepins have underperforming quite a lot. But in case you're interested in, just use the code. And I'm going to be also adding it on the link down below. And then we're going to be going into another Sui project that I actually talked to the people at the event. That's called Momentum. They were handing out these like great backpacks. There was so much loot that I got from the event. It was very nice. And Momentum has actual thing going on. There's a leaderboard. And basically this is ranked by getting TVL and volume and revert TVL. So in case you want to join, you can use under me. So in case you guys are looking into, hey, you are already having like LSTs. So you have ST Sui, you have V Sui or something. You can put it on these very risk-free pools here, LPs, and just accumulate points for them, but also for Momentum. So, and as you can see, there's a lot of like TVL is raising here, especially like here's the start of the base camp. So there's more interest here. Obviously they did good PR there. So that's pretty good. But this is one of those dexes that probably going to be, you know, if you don't like lending, and obviously we have talked about lending protocols kind of being shitty, but this is another one that maybe can be a decent drop to park your liquidity in. Then we have this meme coin thing called BoopFun, which is basically Kaido meeting Pump Fun, I guess. So basically you can join a cult, and there's like all of these interesting systems on the airdrop. So you can get the airdrop by like issuing your own token if you are eligible. So in case you got the Kaido airdrop, it might be possible that you are eligible for BoopFun as well. I did create my own token here as well. This is on Salana, by the way, and you can find it at Lite. And this is the token. There's this big, this was by the way bought, so I actually bought here. As you can see, somebody else randomly, this is my first purchase. These bots are front running too much stuff these days, but it is what it is. But this is my coin, and I think when it graduates, I get money. It's an interesting like tokenomics model. It's basically a lot better than the Pump Fund because the rewards are actually pretty good. It doesn't have maybe the same volume, but there's fundamentally like the way it works in terms of tokenomics is just like a lot more better. Create to earn and trade to earn. So all of the things that you're going to be doing here is going to be, you know, building into the actual eventual airdrop. Then Karac had this NFT thing going on over here. I think this is already minted out, but you can maybe check it out if you're able to mint. I was pretty high on the leaderboard, but maybe I wasn't like super active on the chain or the project otherwise. But I wasn't eligible for this. But you know, K1 is for Royal Karakians, and these NFTs likely are going to be part of the eligibility for the actual token release. And I don't know if there's a secondary market or anything like that where you can buy these at this point, but it is what it is. Then we did talk about Aztec, and maybe we have to do a separate individual video on Aztec later. I'm being very much contemplating on Monad. There has been a lot of things going around right now, me moving to a new home and all that. So apologies for the inactivity on the channel, but I think Aztec is like one of the better, maybe top 5 options you can go for in terms of a testnet, as Monad is already kind of like a further down the line, and this only started on May 1st, so this is only 5 days old, so it's definitely worthy to actually get into this. They have raised like 69 million, I believe, and they do have this one NFT collection, which we have to talk about in a future video, and all this stuff, but I think I'm going to do an individual video on Aztec and talk about the potential criteria for it. Then, in case you are doing Monad, there are a lot of things in the testnet right now where you can start doing actions. All the people, and I think they announced that the testnet tokens, everybody who holds them are going to be eligible for the airdrop. So this is going to be a lot of people in the testnet are going to be getting rewarded. Optimism started out a new boost mode thing, so if you're Super Chain OG, you were early user of Base, OP Mainnet, Sonium, a couple of others, you're going to be getting double the experience. We talked about this on the last airdrop video, I believe, and I haven't still done this USDT 0 thing. Maybe I'll probably now get around doing it, actually. I can mite something good over here, the yield, but I have to look more into the USDT 0 and what exactly is the model behind there. But hey, if you want an LP thing to do right now, and Optimism drops have been relatively good, so a lot of money there, so maybe that's for you. Another one that has been making up the marks is Enso, another project that has been accumulating a lot of interest among airdrop hunters. Might be It has to be interacting with Zeely, which fucking sucks. That fucking website sucks. But this is another one. I don't know if I'm going to be doing a full video about this, but there are a couple of things that you can do here to earn points. NOS is the token. So I guess you're going to be getting a lot of things by having interacted with these things, which I have actually done a lot of them. So I have to look more into this later. Then we have the last two things over here. We have SNS by Salana. So in case you are owning any domain on Salana, you bought one, now you're going to be getting an actual airdrop. I had one account which had 2 domains, which I bought, but if you bought them on like marketplace, it might not be eligible. This could be actually a pretty decently sized airdrop on Salana. It's hard to say, but this is kind of like the only entity, I guess. I don't know how official this is in capacity. Like, are they related to the main Solana devs and stuff like that? So that's going to be how official it will be, having a lot of impact on the actual valuation of this drop, but you definitely should check out what you're going to be eligible. The token is not distributed yet. It's going to be happening soon. And then lastly, we have this Mabel Story universe thing and a free mint on Avalanche. Mabel Story is obviously a big Web2 game from ages and ages ago. I think there's been maybe 3 Mabel Story games, like 2 sequels or at least 1 sequel. I think it's called Mabel Story 2. And now they have this collaboration going on, which is going to be ending on May 12th. This started out today, literally. So I think it's worth minting this out. It might give you some rewards or maybe an access to, and there seems to be a lot of other NFTs here. But Mabel Story definitely could be, if it's going to be like going full on blockchain version or something, it can be a very, very large game. I think it might be a massive hit, especially in Asia. But that's basically what I have to share with you guys today. And fundamentally, I think it's a good time to grind. I'm getting more bullish now. And once I get all this real life dealt with, I think I'm going to be starting to grind more. And I think I'm going to be pushing out more of these airdrop videos. It's not too late. There are still like new testnet drops coming out, but obviously in terms of the tier list, you can still do Meteora, you can still do Monad, you can still do OpenSea. I think a lot of these things are going to be happening in summer. That's going to be my prediction, that at least half of these drops are going to be happening in summer. But that's my 2 cents. Thanks for watching, guys. I will be seeing you in the next video when it will be dropping out. Cheers.